And Rockford's dropout rate, no matter how you calculate it, across the board, regardless of race, is stunning. It is not a community that has ever valued education. And the chasm between those with an education and those without continues to get wider and wider.
Well, that's why I was anxious to speak to kids today, black and white and brown together, about seeing themselves in this broader, better. If we can help in some way to be a source of motivation, education does matter.
It's
you know,
huge.
Literacy does matter. You know, avoiding self-degradation and drugs matters. Dropping these guns matter. I mean, so we've been pushing that line, and your writers have been at the document, and we're going to stay right there.
No black 15-year-old boy is going to go to school because old, white, middle-aged me said so. He might go to school because you said so.
Old black middle-aged.
Yeah, that's right.
I got some old
right. You and I practically share a birthday, so, I mean, the message has to be there from others than this white editorial board. And the white editorial board has been drumming on that message for a long, long time.
Well, I would like to meet with some other people in the city, including industrialists, who have an interest in working together. So one thing about a city like Rockford, I contend, is that you're big enough to be urban, small enough to be focused.
Right.
A Chicago and LA, they're just so big. You know, in Chicago, I was come down the street a month ago, and Wrigley Field was full, and Cellular Field was full, and you miss nobody you know. I mean, that's just 500,000 kids. But here, 30,000 kids really is manageable. We could. Why can't Rockford be the urban experiment?
We agree.
We are in Illinois. We are a town with an industrial history of middle class, working class people. We do have credible representation in Washington. And so why can't we work together to focus on this issue, both of education and reindustrialization together? I mean, a lot of people could make that first 9, 18, 27, 36 feet, could make, that's billboards, that's radio PSAs, that's TV PSAs, that's it. I mean, we can create a rhythm. Then we can involve people who are the source of inspiration, maybe Michelle and maybe whomever else. We can make this the thing to do, like, you know, wearing your shirt out. We can make education, I'm convinced, the thing to do. And maybe we can turn this minus into a plus and make it happen.
If
that excites
happen,
me.
It would be wonderful.
Well, this can require not just judging me per se, but us doing, we'll have to take all of us to make this happen. There are people that can be convened, whether they're union, whether they're industrialists, whether other media, who must think of what can the TV, radio, media, industrial, union, religious community do together to break this cycle. We collectively, we cannot fail at this. We can't afford to fail at it. This is doable.
You've been to a lot of communities in crisis, both short-term crisis and long-term crises. Have there been communities that have done it well? And what can we learn from them?
Well, you have these spotty experiments, you know, where they tend to work better in towns this size than, say, New York or Chicago, places that big, you know. I'll have to get back to you on where. I've seen bits and pieces where people kind of build a rhythm. I just don't think we can go in from a school over here, this for the teachers, souls for the pastors, plants for the workers, and some, we just kind of drift along with kind of predictable outcomes. We know if we maintain this rhythm, we know we're going to have more truancy. We're going to have more kids in jail than college. I mean, we kind of know we're riding along predictable outcomes. I'm saying let's break the mold. And I asked Mrs. Parks one time, I don't know why this conversation hit me. I said, why didn't you go to the back of the bus? I mean, you know, you ran the risk of getting beat, or getting killed, sent to jail. She just said, I thought about Emmett Till, and I couldn't go back. He was killed August 28th. He was sent down December 1st in 55. And the impact of his death created such a psyche. You know, people saw his body and went into, and couldn't go back. Now maybe Marcus can be a defining moment here, given the iron is hot, people trying to reset. The iron is hot, and the people are trying to reshape some iron. That people are meeting. The mayor's meeting right now with the ministers. Everybody's meeting because we don't know what's going to happen. And maybe this is just a moment to do some reshaping. Rather than dip out the bucket, the water of the bucket, let's create a new canal. Maybe this is the time to redirect the flow of the river. Why can't intelligent adults like us take 30,000 kids and educate them?
You can.
I know we can. Why can't 30,000 children be educated by a combination of us? Now, it might be doing some things differently. Today I saw 80 ministers there, Episcopalian and evangelical, this and that. They kind of figure where they fit. Because right now, those people don't feel they fit. Those are good people. They don't fit.
There's 3 ministers' associations in this town.
Yeah.
They don't all, as you know, they do not all sit at the same table all the time.
Yeah.
Some of them don't sit at the table, period, out of choice.
But they were there today. And so my point is there is a sense that the people, but what's striking is those who sit out there are kind of activist type people, but they have no assignment. They're good people doing good stuff in their own little circles, but I'm telling you, we must think creatively of something bigger than adjusting, bigger than not having the right. We must think of something bigger than that.
Then one piece of advice from me, just from me. I am with you 99%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who's known me
Which my wife got past 85.
Yeah, I know. I agree with where your head is, and I agree with your assessments. But the 1% where I'm not, please do not do that reenactment again. Because if you want to, if your role is to give voice to those voiceless, fine, go ahead. But if what you want to accomplish in this community is to help us move forward, to do all of the things you said, then you've got to accept the fact that in this community are men and women of good heart and good faith who are appalled at what they see as side-taking. They will follow what you want, but they can't, and I'm one of them. It's hard for me to put those two things together. I'm not alone. I'm speaking for a lot of people. You know, so just don't do the reenactment again, and let's move on.
We made that point, but, you know, I am concerned about this neutrality.
We will not let it get covered up, Reverend Jackson. Absolutely will not.
That, you know, the King has a point of view, Book has a point of view, we can't take sides. We've got to show some leadership, too. I mean,
absolutely.
The mayor
it's not that,
could have visited the church and said, the details of which I can't address because it's technically it's legal, but you have my sympathies. That ain't hard to do.
You can call this murder when it is. We don't know that.
I'm talking about the mayor.
I know, but that's my only piece.
Calling Reverend Brown, Mrs. Brown wasn't hard to do. Without you being there. I mean, that's just not hard to do. I mean, because neutrality seems to be on the side of the status quo.
I agree. We don't agree with neutrality. I'm just saying, let's don't pick this murder, say it's a murder until we know. That's all I'm asking. This was me to you, nothing else. Do what you want.
You got a deal on that question. I mean, we've kind of made our point. The element I'm trying to get that anger and anguish redirected, we've got the attention, I think.
Yes.